Welcome to the Computer Repair Podcast, episode number 291, special edition. Another conference? I'm your host, Jeff Halash. This is our live show where we discuss the ins and outs of running your computer repair business. Let me introduce a special co-host and guest and friend and wonderful all-around person, Paco Lebron from ProdigyTeks. How you doing, Paco?
Better than good, better than most. How are you?
I am doing awesome, man. Good to see you. It's been a long time since you've been on the show.
It has.
Good to have you. So what we're going to do is this is a special edition. What we wanted to do was we wanted to announce to the world something new. Everybody likes new, shiny things, right? So yesterday, I went out to our secret Facebook group, and I did about a 25-minute video. Now, what's funny about this is I meant to make a 5-minute video, but apparently I can't ever shut up. So with that being said, it was a recap of events that we had been to. And so if you're a part of the secret Facebook group and you have not listened to it yet, definitely check it out. But then I came up with a question. And the question was, do you all here, good, bad, or indifferent, want a conference where we can basically come together as a group and collaborate and do some things? And the reason I'm going to say this is because for the last year and a half, would you say it was about a year and a half, Paco?
Probably closer to 2.
Okay. Almost 2 years. Paco and I, mostly Paco, has been thinking about having an event of our own, and we've got our own ways and thoughts of how we wanted to do it. So we had a great response from the secret Facebook group. And if you've not responded, definitely go over there and put in your 2 cents. We listen to everything. But we got such a great response that guess what? We are announcing to the world on this podcast right now, 2019. We have no idea what it's going to be called yet, but we are going to do another meetup / conference. You can call them whatever you want, but we wanted a space where we could meet together and collaborate with others. So I'm going to shift it over to Paco right now, and I want him to talk about his thoughts and ideas of what we've been talking about for the last almost 2 years about putting together some sort of event for you, the listener.
Yeah, so kind of like what Jeff said, we've been toying around with this idea for about 2 years, and it was around the concept of how to have a stronger community tie. And it was one of those where it's from the community by the community. And as we were trying to figure out how does this all kind of roll in, how do we figure out that to give the best value to our community, this is why we've been rolling around and figuring out on how to provide the most value to those that would attend this type of conference meetup, but also to be able to get the most value, but also make sure to walk away with something that you learned. Because I think the biggest piece on having these type of conferences, meetups, you want to learn and you want to take something away from it. And we've all known from going to many conferences, over the years that, the best thing on a conference is when you speak that one-to-one for that one person, when you're sitting down at the table talking to that one person or group of people, and just building that so-called relationship, the being able to build a great connection to look forward to as the following year goes through, as you're trying to build whatever it is that kind of talked about. I think, for me, one time was when I was sitting at a group of people, it was, regarding pricing structures. So, and that helped, pivot to what I'm doing for pricing right now. So it's things like that we're trying to create more aha moments for small business owners to not only get away and step away from their business, but also to be able to come back to their business, not only rejuvenated, really just gung-ho to take it by the horns, but really being able to say, you know what, this was worth me going into taking some time off and learning a lot that really benefited me and my business to go ahead and look forward to the next.
Excellent. So, Paco, would you say that all the conferences we've been to, and we've been to a lot together, would you say that probably some of the best building time or learning time or just getting information time would actually be outside of the conference events?
Absolutely. I think we all have gone through there where we're in between break room sessions or through community meetings for certain conferences. And, it's great to see some of our old friends that we had before, but seeing some of those that have, in your view, now I want to be specific about this because every person who is running their business is in a different status or level in their own eyes. So speaking to someone in their own eyes that is a little bit further than you, or even at the same level as you to understand what they're doing side by side, it's going to allow you to really try and figure out if this is going to be a great opportunity. But the bigger point of it is being able to get into this type of environment of being around your peers without any content being played, without being a workshop, and just actually just shooting the tech. Just really just understanding, hey, I'm from where and where, and this is what we're doing. Or even those that, let's say, for example, me, Jeff, and John Dubinsky are having a conversation, and one of our listeners who have seen us walk up and join the conversation, and they contributed their viewpoint, which actually made us learn something. It's that type of dynamic that's really interesting, and that's what really makes just any type of conference or just a get together of all similar people in the same industry make it worthwhile.
Yes, and I wholeheartedly agree. I love those side conversations, the information that you get, and just chatting with people in general. Now, a lot of us live in this digital world, and we think a lot of times we're by ourselves. We're doing this business. There's nobody that's going through the same exact problems I'm going through. But the truth of the matter is, there are people all over the world that are going through the same exact things that you're going through. And because of that, this is a great opportunity to just kind of let go and go, let me learn something new and get better in my business. Plus, like Paco said too, and I think this is great, is shoot the tech. I love that. But is to step away from our business so that you can go back in and re-energize. So one of the things that we're looking at doing is having more of a collaborative group that where the questions can be asked from the stage versus there is a difference when you are being spoken at or spoken with. And the difference is I want to be spoken with because I want to be included in this conversation. I just don't want to be spoken at. So one of the things that we're looking for is that more collaborative effort. The other thing is the workshops. We've had some great workshops and we've all been to different conferences where there's so many workshops, so many different things going on. It's hard to get to them all. And so we want to build an environment and we think we can do it. I mean, we're definitely not the smartest people in the world, at least not me. Paco is, but I think we can pull this together to where we can have workshops with everybody included. And we've got the interaction, the asking questions, the let's learn together. And kind of what this podcast does on almost a weekly basis, coming together and sharing these ideas and the things that we do on a daily, regular, monthly, yearly basis. This is what we want to do. We want to bring those together. So Paco, would you agree with that with the workshops and, trying to get more of that information to the people?
Yeah, and I think the bigger piece of like how you said is not only just having those workshops on being able to hear from another, again, we all have these views on certain topics that we would love to know and how our fellow techs are, our fellow business owners are trying to tackle these type of items. But another opportunity to be able to have is really getting together for those that use the same type of systems, whether it be CRMs, whether it be phone systems, whether it be maybe processes or even books that they, had got certain pieces from. I think being able to understand how to really leverage a lot of this group and this collective of people that use it, let's say, for example, a product, and having a peer talk about that product and how they've been really helping their business with it and providing a couple of tips to their fellow colleagues, or even having that vendor show up and being able to give details or give us some type of pointers that we can go ahead and stretch out and let people know, being able to have that collective on, hey, how do I use this? What's the best way for me to do something? I got stuck, and having that question answered just with those group of people.
Excellent point. Yeah, I think when we look at how conferences normally go and just the time away from not only the time away from your business, because everybody usually comes back and they're going, "Oh man, I'm swamped with work. I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to do this." But I think another thing too, as far as the venue, we want to kind of keep everything close knit, simple, easy to get to, kind of all in one spot if we possibly can. Now that's not a guarantee because Paco and I, even though we've been talking about this for the last couple of years, we don't have everything nailed down. We have some ideas and we figure we've got about a year. So we're looking at the probably September timeframe, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So if we look at the September timeframe, that's going to give us about a year to put something together and make it the best collaborative effort. Now, we've already had people from the secret Facebook group reach out, and they basically have said, "Hey, I can help you with this. I can help you with that." And we're like, "Yeah, this is awesome. This is what we want to do." So I think a lot of people from that group are excited about looking at something like this. And again, this is what I love about America. Now I'm going to get on my soapbox. Okay, what I love about America is you can be whomever you want. You can do the things any way you want as long as it's legal. So it's great that there's so many different choices out there because choice is good. You pick the things that are going to fit you. But we also know, I've talked about this before, when it comes to competition in the tech space, in the IT business groups, there is no competition, even if you're in the same area. And I firmly believe that because, again, there's people that are going to like Paco and hate me. And then there's people that they'll tolerate Paco but love me. So
there's quite a few of them that don't. Yeah, I've learned that from quite a few years on this earth. You only get one Paco. So
there you go. There you go.
There's either they like them or they don't like them. There's no middle with me.
Right. And so with that being said, there really is no competition. The same thing with conferences. There is no competition. Okay. What we're trying to do is something a little bit different and something that we believe in. Our vision is supporting and what we feel the people out there really want. And I've said this before too, a lot of times the reality is people really don't know what they want until you kind of put it in front of them. And then they figure out, oh, yeah, I kind of wanted a piece of that. That's good. I like that. I got that little nugget. And so the other thing, too, is, Paco, is that I wanted to really bring in some of what I would call the vendors. I don't want to call them indie vendors because, that sounds like they're small potatoes and a lot of them aren't. They're big
invested vendors.
Community invested vendor. There you go. Perfect. Took the words right out of his mouth. And so that is perfect. We want those that are involved with us and that want to work with the community. That's important. Now, and here's the thing, whether they're talking from a stage or whether they just show up just to kind of share. And I kind of shared this and I'm going to go into it a little bit. I was able to see last weekend Ian Alexander, and it's probably been 4 years since I've seen the guy, and it was just awesome to see him and share and just talk about some ideas, and so that was cool. And those are the type of people that have supported this community from the beginning, many, many eons ago, even long before I ever even started this podcast or didn't start this podcast, before I took over this podcast. Once I took it over, I had a lot of the same relationships that were already built for years with the Podnutz network. And that's awesome. So that's really some of the things we're looking forward to. Paco, anything on the community base? What'd you call that? What was it?
Community invested vendors.
Community invested vendors.
Hey, I'm like John. I just pulled them out of the air. So no, I think it says a lot on vendors who create software or create services because they were in the same position that we were. And that speaks a lot to what we would really love for vendors to speak to us and what we need. On the flip side, it's always a great opportunity to really talk to a lot of these vendors because they're invested in not only your growth, but you will return right back to them. Perfect example with Ian being there was a great opportunity to talk to him when we got a chance to chat with him. And, the question was asked to me in a group full of guys, why did you switch from your previous RMM platform to Synchro? And the plan and my blunt answer was I'd rather give them the money than the other guys. Plain out, because they're a good group of guys. They're invested in the community. They're responsive. They built a trust with the community, and the community is trying to invest right back. So that's just an example of something where, it's going to be great to have vendors there, but to have somebody that really is interested and wants to know and in the trenches, like the Malware Bytes guys and like, all these other events like Fabs and Fred over at UVK and, some of these great software and services businesses that are really trying to, Chris, when he, with the RS Tech team, when he was running that, these were invested people in the community. And because they were so invested in the community went ahead and tried to invest back. And that's one of those things where having those type of relationships are priceless. And that's what we're trying to culminate and capture at this type of an event.
And I also think too that a lot of times, like we said in the beginning, a lot of people love to stand around and share and have those times, and we need to create those moments within this type of event, and so that people have that time to share, they have the time to talk, they have the time to eat food or whatever it is. So that's kind of our thought process on that. Now we also want to make sure that we find a place that's pretty easy to get to, right? And we also want to make sure that it's in a venue that we can, get to easily or stay at predominantly most of the time. There's a lot of other conferences and different things you can go to where they're what do they call them? Destination events.
Something like destination. Something like that. Destination events or destination. We'll go with destination events.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about. I just can't recall the phrase that's used.
And that's fine if you're traveling with family and you want to do some vacationing or anything like that. But the reality is when I want to learn something about my business, that's all I can really think about. I want to separate myself from my business, get together with my peers and work on making things better in my business or learning something I can take away, bring home and implement in my business, which it doesn't matter what conferences you go to, you're going to get a takeaway or takeaways from every one of them. That's the way it is.
Right. And the bigger piece, like you said, is not like, and the reason why we've been toying around with this is because our biggest thing from just what we've seen, what we've heard is convenience. And that's what we really want this to be. We want this to be a grassroots, come on, get your learning on, mingle with everyone, but not have to break the bank to do it. We want to be able to, and not only, and when I say break the bank, I'm not just talking about monetary, but I'm also talking about time-wise as well. And the aggravation of trying to figure out how you're going to do these things and how you're going to plan that. Our plan has always been to get it to be convenient and being able to not worry about, if you're planning to come, whatever you did to make that decision and whatever you make the arrangements, once we kind of flush this all out, once it's done and said and you mark the date and you're coming, that should all that it should be. And once you get there, it's just a time to get to enjoy yourself and not worry about having to come up with another time frame or adjust your time and more money to enjoy yourself while you're there.
Well, we'll go back to the old adage, KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Right.
And that's really, again, from my standpoint, I'm a simple guy. And so things have to be simple for me in order to be able to do them. So, and if I'm like that, I'm sure there are other people out there that are like that. And again, one of the things that I really want to do from this chair here is I look at, at these conferences a lot of times, I wanted to interact with more of the listeners that listen to the show on a regular basis. And I absolutely didn't get a chance to do that at some of these other conferences. And so that's one of the things I was missing. Again, just different, not better. It's something that we see that the community wants as a whole, because a lot of times, and you won't see me, I'm not a big advocate of surveys because I believe everybody lies on them. And actually, if you heard Mike Michalowicz talk, he'll tell you everybody lies on surveys.
True
And
story.
so, but I already knew that. I get it, because nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that. I get it.
And is
So
anonymous really ever anonymous?
anonymous is never, if you're on the internet, you are not anonymous, no matter what proxy you're going through. So with that being said, we want to make it to a point of where I've listened. I listen. I believe I know the community well enough. And see, I'm one of those guys, I read between the lines. So you're saying one thing, and in the middle of that, I can take that information and go, this is really kind of where you're at, and this is what you're thinking. Why? Because a lot of times I've been there, or it's something I thought about. And so from that, I just take life's experiences, and that's what I kind of go with when I'm reading what people kind of need. Now, is everything going to be perfect? No, nothing's ever perfect. It is what it is. But at the same time, just getting together and being able to work some of those things out in our businesses, I think is key. And having it at a venue that we can maybe have a little more control over. And like Paco said, make it inexpensive. Now, let's face it, education is expensive. So no, we're not saying that this is only going to cost you, a few $100s. Traveling is expensive. Eating out is expensive. You know, hotels are expensive, but we believe we can cut some of those costs down in the venues that we're looking at right now.
And it's a write-off.
Yes. Yes. So we're not advocates of, hey, it's a write-off, just spend whatever. It doesn't matter, because you still have to make a profit, and there's still only so many percentages you can write, so there's kind of that fine line where you don't really, we say everything's a write-off. My mortgage is a write-off. Doesn't benefit me as much as it used to. That's all I'm going to say about that. So,
yeah.
So Paco, we've been talking about this for a long time, but what are some of the key points, other than what we talked about so far, that you would like to see at this type of event?
I think the biggest, at least types or points that we would try to at least take home is to figure out, like, one big piece that I heard a lot was how to save 1 hour a day in billable time. I think we all, especially solopreneurs, being able to figure that type of piece out, admin and officiating, and just how to automate some of that stuff. Because if you can help save yourself an hour of that time, that's one billable hour you can give yourself. 5 billable hours in a work week is a little bit of nice change when you go down to the month, the year, and so forth. So that was a big piece of one of those type of points, is how do I fix that time? The other piece is being able to understand, okay, I got all these tools. I got all the nice shiny things. How do I make this work to be profitable? Right. And that's another piece that we're trying to work on and really figure out a best way for the attendees there. But the biggest piece and an overall aspect of it is really making sure that they come out, have these questions in mind, really understanding, I'm struggling with this, and whatever problem it is. And we have these categories, whether it be time, money, systems, automations, and just all around just vendor knowledge or system knowledge, whatever it may be. We'll have these categories that they can kind of figure out, all right, this is where I'm at in my business. I want to focus on this specific category for my trip here. All these things that they're talking about is what I'm going to go ahead and do. And that's kind of what we're going to try and figure out, is how to not only benefit them in that aspect of it, but like you said, make it well worth their while to come.
Awesome. I couldn't have said it better myself. I think that's great. And so hopefully we have kind of given our intent, what we plan on doing. And like I said, it's been in the works for a while, and 2019 is our year, and it's the time that we're going to pull the trigger and do what we need to do to put an event together that we believe will benefit the community. And with that being said, I think a lot of it, and like I said, we've already had people reaching out, say, hey, we're willing to help, do this, do that, do that. So really appreciate that. And we're definitely going to be calling on people. Now, I would like your feedback if you're interested in an event like this. And if you're not, you can let us know that too. That's perfectly fine. So it's not good, bad, or indifferent. It's just everybody has their opinions. I have mine. And because I'm the host, I can say whatever the heck I want, and get away with it. So, but we do want people's feedback, and I listen to everything. Even if somebody sends me something that's so ridiculous, I still read it. I still listen to it. I still I take it to heart and go, maybe there can be a little tweak or something to make this transition better or whatever. So Paco, we definitely want people's feedback on, hey, are you interested in something like this? And we're not shooting for the moon here. Can I say that, Paco? We're not shooting for the moon.
I would say so.
Okay. But we're going, and here's the key. We're going to build this. Paco said it best, grassroots, right from the bottom. But again, we will have the ability to expand and move on the fly.
Right. And I think two things. One, going back to what you said before with the feedback we've already received, that's been really great. And the involvement and just everyone really wanting to see this happen is the biggest piece on why we're doing it. And I want to make sure we stress this is that, we've always said on every one of the Podnutz shows, these is for computer repair business owners. This is for computer repair technicians by computer repair technicians, IT business owners by IT business owners. This is a community-based event from the community by the community. And I think the fact that everyone giving their viewpoints, willing to help us out, the outpour that when we had said that we were going to do this, shows that we have a great community, and being able to build it that way is going to be such a great event and successful. With the other piece of it being, with us being able to do this, we're going to grow it to where we can get it to go. So we're at grassroots. We're going to and we're going to build this to what we can get it to. And if it knocks out of the park the first year, we figure out how we can make it even better. But it's one of those, like Jeff said, we're going to be able to build this where we can adjust if we need to, but make sure we don't lower any expectations for when we're get this thing going.
Awesome. Very well put. Yeah. If we start with a small group of people, that's fine, but we should be able to grow it into a big group of people with little to no extra effort, because you're going to get the same either way. And again, it's about the community, like Paco said, and the collaboration. And that's really what we're looking for. And that's our goal and our heart's desire. And we know that there's a group of people out there that's something they want, and that's something that they want to be a part of. And for the rest, that's fine. Go do whatever you're going to do, and that's perfectly fine, and no ill feelings whatsoever, because again, there are different things for different people, and that's what makes America great. All right. So Paco, any other lasting thoughts, or we've kind of covered everything of what we've done thus far?
Yeah, I think since everything is so early right now, we have nailed it down to 2 places that we're planning on doing it. Once we kind of figure out where we will have it, I'm expecting it no later than October to figure out where we're going to have it, when we're going to have it. And when I say where, I'm not saying as far as venue. I'll be able to we'll announce what city and state. Because venues tend to change, but hopefully we'll be able to knock that out too as well. So, But I say by October, for those that are kind of interested, no later than October, we'll have pretty much a solid idea of where we're going to be for toward the end of or the middle of September of 2019.
And the other thing too is we don't know exactly who all is going to be involved.
Right.
So I'll just put that up front. Right now, it's Paco and me staring at blank walls. No, but again, we've definitely got the community behind us, but there might be some other people that you hear are coming on board. And this is the other reason why we did the special edition podcast, is that we wanted to get the information out. Here's what we're doing. Here's our intentions. Nothing hidden, nothing, just straight up. Here's what it is.
And just to get involved, you know, we want your feedback, as early as possible as we go along, because this is for you, by you.
So you can send that feedback to Podnutz at podnutz.com. All right. So let's go ahead and definitely appreciate you again, Paco. It was nice having you on the show again. If you could let people know where they can find you at and throw your email address out there so they can hit you up also.
Yep. You can reach me over at Paco at podnutz.com. You can also reach me. You can see me on the last final episodes of Tech Life that will be coming out soon. And you'll be able to catch me over on my good co-host, Matthew Rodella's podcast, The Computer Business Marketing Show.
Awesome, man. And yep, he's Paco's been around for quite a while and doing a lot of great things. So definitely follow him. All right. You can come join us live for the Computer Repair Podcast every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern over at podnutz.com/CRP Live. Join in on the conversation by hanging out in the chat room. You can send an email to podnutz@podnutz.com, real easy. Or you can leave a voicemail. We'll play your voice on the air, 734-335-1000. I want to thank everyone for listening and subscribing to the show. We'll see you next time on the Computer Repair Podcast.